Hello students. So after covering all the types of reaction in the previous videos, this is the last part of the chapter. After this we will wind up with chemical reactions and equations. So this part is basically an application of redox reactions only, which we have studied, that is oxidation and reduction reactions. So two major applications which are given in your NCERT also as a small topic, but let me tell you, these both the applications are so common in our daily lives that we see it regularly. We come across it every day, at most from our childhood. Since today we might have encountered this, but never have we able to take out the exact methodology behind it, right? So today we will discuss about two topics, that is corrosion and rancidity. Both are the applications of redox reactions. Please remember that if ever a question comes in the examination that explain in details the two applications of redox reactions, do not get confused that we haven't studied them. Those are, that means they are talking about corrosion and rancidity only. So you have to explain both the things in detail. Mostly such a questions doesn't come in the examination. It is always give reason type of questions which come from these topics. But in any case, if it comes, please do not get astonished that which kind of topic it is. Okay, so starting off with corrosion, the process in which metals which are eaten up gradually, that means metals are eaten up. That means something might be there which is degrading the metal, which is harming the metal, right? So that is what is happening by the action of air, in the presence of air, moisture, or some chemicals like acid. So that means metal is being eaten up by any of the things like air, moisture, or some chemical like acid when it comes in contact with the surface of metal. Now before I move ahead, I would like to draw your attention towards, everybody might have encountered iron grills. Okay, in your windows in your house, they are all made up of iron. Some certain pipes which are kept on the road, they are made up of iron. The railway track which we come across is made up of iron. So there are abundant of things which are made up of iron. But the point to be noticed is that when the newly formed iron comes, it is brown in color, pure brown in color, right? You see blackish brownish touch, totally polished and looking like really shining. Okay, but after some time, like after a span of year or 6 months or a year, you will see that there develops some reddish brown tinge on that iron. You might have observed also the railway track, it appears reddish brown to us, though its exact color is red in no case. It is brownish black, but it turns out to be reddish just because it is laid down in open, it has no coverage. So what happens is that metal, that means that iron which it is made up of, it comes in contact with the air, and air contains oxygen. So what happens, that oxygen present in the air react with the iron present in that railway track. When that iron and oxygen react together, they form a compound called as iron oxide, and that iron oxide compound is reddish brown in color. And this is only an example of corrosion, which is called as rusting of iron. It is a very, very important topic from all the points of views. Please understand it very carefully. That reddish brown substance which is formed on the iron surface, that is nothing but a compound called as rust. We name it as rust. I have given it here also. Iron comes in contact with air for a longer time, it forms rust. This process weakens the metal. You might be wondering that what is the harm if iron oxide is formed, right? The harm is this only, it degrades the metal. Anything which gets eaten up within a span, that means its actual property has been damaged. So iron, though being a very strong material, but when it reacts with oxygen and forms this rust, it gets a little weakened. वो थोड़ा कम पावरफुल हो जाता है, जिसकी वजह से it tends to get damaged easily. Thereby you might have heard that the railway is under construction, or the railway is under renovation, a lot many times you might have seen the workers working on it. This is because of this only, because after some span of time they need renovation over it to remove that layer of oxide, because slowly and slowly, if you will not remove that layer of oxide, not remove that rust from the iron, it will eat up the iron and weaken it. Then it might lead to some major accidents also, as trains run on those railway tracks, right? That is why it is very, very important to prevent this rusting, right? I have written, this process of corrosion has been damaging railway line, bridges, ports, etc. Also the flyovers which are here constructed thereby, the bridges which are constructed over like a river flowing down by, right? These are also made up of iron, but anything which is made up of iron needs a regular renovation after a span of 6 months or year, or maybe early, depending upon the situation. If it comes in contact with water also along, it is damaged. If it comes in contact with acid, it is damaged immediately, because acid is something which eats up the metal very quickly. So these are the some processes which you have to keep in mind, because rusting and corrosion, rusting is an example of corrosion, okay? Do not get confused. This corrosion I am making you study through rusting, because you will understand it very quickly. So this is only the basic and main example, but through which you can get many of the questions. This topic is very common. You might even study in your higher classes, and it may also come as a objective in your preparatory classes when you go for coachings, their interviews, their what do we call it, as scholarship tests or something. In there also these questions are very commonly asked, okay? So please remember, the compound formed over that by the contact of iron and oxygen is rust, okay? That is why this process is called as rusting of iron. This is about corrosion. Studying further about rancidity. Now, rancidity is nothing, it is another application of redox reaction, same as corrosion. What happens is, we know that our food contains a lot of fats and oil, right? When we cook, we add oil to it. You might have seen your mothers, they add oil to it before cooking, right? And obviously the food contains fats. So when this food is kept for a longer time outside, you might have seen when something is cooked at your place, after everybody has eaten it, your mother stores it in the refrigerator for the next day, right? So that it does not get spoiled. So have you ever thought कि वो बाहर रखने से spoil होगी क्यों? What will happen to it if we do not keep it in the refrigerator? That is what is rancidity. अगर आप उसे फ्रिज में नहीं रखोगे, if it is kept out, what will happen? Those fats and oil, obviously they will come in contact with the air. So those fats and oil, they will react with air and undergo oxidation. Got it? They will react with it and undergo oxidation. That leaves unpleasant smell and taste to the food. You might have seen, जो खाना खराब हो जाता है उसमें से बहुत गंदी smell आती है. It smells very bad. So that is due to this only, because the fats and oil which were present in that food, they got reacted with the outside air, and thus they gave a very bad smell to the food. क्योंकि वो जो reaction होता है, that is not good. That is very harmful to the food. It makes it eatless. फिर उसके बाद हम उसे खा नहीं सकते. It becomes a harmful substance to our body. And that process is only called as rancidity of food. जब वो oxidize हो जाते हैं fats and oil air के साथ, तो that do not form good substances and give unpleasant smell. This process is called as rancidity. It spoils the food with bad taste and smell. Rancidity की वजह से सारा खाना and smell सब गंदा हो जाता है, right? It spoils the food. Now, how can we prevent rancidity? By adding antioxidant to the food, we can prevent oxidation. Now, there are some antioxidants which are present in the market. They are sold, okay? So when you add them to your food, they do not get spoiled. You might have seen the people who supply pickle. They add a lot of antioxidants, because pickle has a lot of oil and fats in it. जो हम अचार खाते हैं उसके अंदर बहुत ज़्यादा oil and fat होता है. So it has the maximum tendency to get rancid over a very short span of time. So there are some antioxidants which are added to that pickle so that it doesn't get spoiled. And one of the example of those antioxidant is BHA. You need not to learn its name, it's just for your knowledge. Secondly, by packing foods with nitrogen gas like chips. You might have seen chips packet, it is always swollen with air, right? When you prick it, gas is released. ठीक है, उसमें हवा भरी होती है, right? What is that हवा? That हवा is nothing but it is nitrogen gas, because nitrogen prevents those chips फ्रॉम कमिंग इन कॉन्टैक्ट विद एयर ऑक्सीजन डायरेक्टली. तो जब नाइट्रोजन का लेयर उन चिप्स के ऊपर होता है, वो चिप्स डायरेक्टली ऑक्सीजन से रिएक्ट नहीं कर पाते एंड दस वो ख़राब नहीं होते. देयर बाय यू माइट हैव सीन नो, कितने कितने दिनों तक वो पैकेट्स शॉपकीपर की शॉप पे पड़े रहते हैं एंड दे आर सोल्ड स्लोली एंड ग्रेजुअली, बट वो ख़राब नहीं होते. दिस इज़ ड्यू टू दिस ओनली, क्योंकि उनके अंदर हवा भरी होती है. ओके. By keeping the food in refrigerator, obviously this is a very common thing because it slows down rancidity. अब फ्रिज में ऐसा क्या होता है जिससे rancidity नहीं होती? फ्रिज का जो टेम्परेचर है that is very low. फ्रिज का टेम्परेचर लो होने की वजह से जो ये रिएक्शन है ऑक्सीजन और ऑयल का एंड फैट्स का, ये बहुत ज़्यादा स्लो हो जाता है. इट बिकम्स वेरी वेरी स्लो दैट देयर इज़ नो चांस ऑफ फूड टू बी स्पॉइल्ड until and unless it is kept for a duration of more than 15 days. Okay, after that it all obviously becomes rancid, but for those span of time it is slowed down. Also by keeping in airtight containers. Obviously when you pack the food in airtight containers, जहाँ पे air अंदर ही नहीं जाएगी, so when air is not going outside, no oxygen, अगर कोई oxygen नहीं जा रहा तो there is no reaction of fats and oil. This prevents rancidity. By keeping food away from the light. Now what is the concept of light? लाइट के साथ भी सेम कॉन्सेप्ट है जैसा रेफ्रिजरेटर के साथ है. जब लाइट नहीं होती, द स्पीड ऑफ द रिएक्शन इज स्लोड डाउन. तो लाइट इज समथिंग विच फास्टन्स द रिएक्शन. ऑब्वियसली व्हेन देयर विल बी मोर लाइट, ऑक्सीजन बिकम्स एक्टिव इन लाइट. जब लाइट नहीं होगी, देयर इज अ डार्क इन्वायरमेंट, ऑक्सीजन इज स्लो देयर, सो देयरफॉर दैट रिएक्शन स्लोज डाउन एट अ वेरी स्लो रेट like that in the refrigerator. So it also slows down rancidity. Okay. So these are some processes by which we can prevent rancidity. There are many reasoning questions which come from all these 5 points. The concept is this only. They might give you different situations through which you have to apply your mind. Rest, these topics are very very simple. Still, if you have any confusion, any doubt, please get me back. Thank you very much.